Hello, everyone. This is 6 p.m. on a Thursday, and here we are for the webinar of how to live a life you love. Three big mistakes that young professionals make that keep them burnt out, bored, and broke. So I'm so happy you have joined me today, and I cannot wait. Actually, there is no more waiting anymore, right? Here we are. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you and getting started. So let me share a little bit about myself very briefly. I am Tasneem Farah Noor. I'm a certified dream builder coach, and I teach my clients the technology of success. That is my first priority as a dream builder coach. So they don't just dream big, but they also live big, their greatest potential, whatever it is for them. I have my master's degree in education and student affairs from UCLA. And for the past 7+ years, actually, I've been working with students across different campuses and different capacities, engaging with leadership development, creating events and programs, increasing their self-awareness, and really working to upgrade their college experience. So I'm honored and humbled that you have joined me today, and I look forward to sharing with you as much as I possibly can in the next 60, 90 minutes. Um, and my invitation for those who are ready to dig deep and to continue working on yourselves and continue to improve your life experience, your work experience, get in touch with me. In the email that you received when you registered for this webinar, there was a link where you can have access to my calendar, and that's the best way to set up time for a strategy session so we can have a one-on-one conversation. And other than that, let me go over some really quick logistics before we really dig deep into the content for today. So if you're tuned in to the webinar through Google Hangouts, I encourage you to leave comments and post any questions or thoughts or troubleshooting things that might come up for you, and I will do my best to address them accordingly. I do have a wonderful colleague, a wonderful friend with me, Samia Bano, who's helping me keep track and an eye on the questions. So I really appreciate her and want to recognize her. She, by the way, is a happiness expert. So if you want to get in touch with her, or if you're just curious about what that is, a happiness expert, have you heard of one before? Probably not. So email me and I can still refer you to her and get you connected with her as well. So secondly, if you're watching this webinar through my website, there's a different link for those who don't have Gmail. Then you can also participate by posting any questions onto the Facebook event page. That's the event page you probably first heard about the event. So that's where you can go. Secondly, thirdly, after the webinar is over, you can still get in touch with me, of course, via email. My email is T for Tasneem, F for Farah, and Noor, TFNoor, Noor, @gmail.com. And again, for a more detailed conversation, feel free to sign up for a complimentary strategy session with me. Sounds good? Cool. The very last reminder I have is that I know I had a really tough time trying to figure out what to keep, what to take out, because there's so much I want to share with you, and there's so much to learn. So if you want to go deeper, at the end of the webinar, towards the end of the webinar, I do have a very special surprise, a gift for you. So stay tuned and find out what that is, so you can actually go deeper as well. Cool? Yay! So I think what I like to do most is, before I start anything, really get to know you And via this webinar, it's a little bit harder to get to know you. So I thought maybe I'd share a little bit more about myself. And then that way, at least you have a better idea of who I am, what the context is from which I'm presenting to you, and why you should even listen to me. So let me start off with that perspective. A little bit about me. Yay. So, for the last 5 years, I was working at California State University, Los Angeles, as the programs coordinator with their student government. I loved it. It was a fun job. It was amazing, amazing, wonderful, bright students, putting on events and retreats with them, for them, great staff and office environment, very rewarding. And I think for the first 3, 4 years, I was just like, I couldn't have a better job, right? It was my first full-time job, and prior to that, I was working at UCLA and Santa Monica College in various capacities, doing different things from counseling to mentoring to designing programs and trainings. So life was good. Life was comfortable, and I was happy. And then at some point, I did start feeling bored because I was no longer being challenged and my creativity was not at its peak. I did start feeling burnt out because I was often in the office late at night until 8 or 9 p.m., working late, and my calendar was dominated with work and everything else around it, right? I scheduled everything based on my work calendar, and it was stressful. And while I can't say I was broke, thank God, I will say that my financial situation was tight, and I knew it could be better, and I was longing for it to be better. So even amongst amazing students, great office environment, doing work that I essentially enjoyed, something seemed missing. It was as if something was waiting to come out of me, and I just didn't know what it was, but I just knew it was there, and I felt stuck. I felt frustrated because my life had, in essence, become a routine. And I would wake up, go to work, I would do this, and I mean, it was just a routine, literally. And so, as the discontent got louder, I had to start looking for answers. And initially, I was looking outside. I was like, okay, maybe if I get a different job, or maybe if I take on more projects at my current job, or maybe if I get married, or maybe if, I go for a trip to Hawaii, and I did, I would, things would get better. But all of that, I realized that really the discontent remained. It might go off on silent for a bit, but it didn't go away for too long. And I was looking in the wrong places. I was looking externally when I should have been looking within. And so with that, I started actively expanding my level of awareness and just asking questions, right? And it was about 2.5 years ago now, actually, that I attended a conference, and there I was introduced to the concept of the fascination factor. I was told by the speaker, or at the group, this seminar we were at, that everyone has a fascination factor, but few are aware of it, and fewer even share it adequately. And in the absence of expressing their fascination factor, people often feel stuck and discontent. So my ears pricked up, and I was like, man, I want to know what this fascination factor is. If everyone has it, then I must have it too, right? So I started looking for it, and this is what the fascination factor is essentially. Your fascination factor is what you are naturally good at. It is your unique passion expressed. It is the best gift you have, and it is when you are at your best and most successful when you're expressing it. So I was like, what is mine? What am I so passionate about that I would love to express and share with the world endlessly? And I'll be honest, a part of me felt ordinary, but another part of me believed in a higher potential. And that belief was tugging on to my faith, saying, there is something more. Look for it, look for it. And so I did. I kept looking for it. I brainstormed. I took out my journal, started writing. And first it was just the basic stuff that I already knew came up, my strengths. I love hanging out. I love helping people. I like creating places for dialogue and this and that. And then it hit me. It hit me. I got my fascination factor. And I knew once I had it, I knew that is what it is for me. And that is when I'm expressing my fascination factor, I will be the most happy person, the most successful person, and I will have the greatest impact. So, curious, what is my fascination factor? Let me tell you. My fascination factor is my faith. My faith, up until that point, is basically my spiritual connection. It is my inner confidence. At the core of it, that is really what faith is. It's your inner confidence. It's that thing you trust with. It's what do you trust, right? And that inner confidence, that faith, was my biggest strength. It helped me to be positive. I was confident. I was patient. I was more brave. It led me to be more compassionate. Right? It pushed me. But at that moment, I realized that by seeing my faith as not just my strength, but also my fascination factor, my passion, it was not something for me only, but it was something to be shared. It was something for me to teach, to express, to bring to the world. And that was the best way I could be of service. So that is, I was at a crossroad now. I had a decision to make. Would I stay comfortable with where I was, because I was comfortable, right? I had a good job, I had security, I was happy for the most part. I remember, around this time, I was introduced to this other concept, and I love it. Good is the enemy of greatness. And when I heard it, I was like, man, something in me just, it just clicked. And I was like, am I going to stay comfortable with being good, or am I going to push myself to strive for greatness? What am I really committed to? And it was a scary decision for me, as it would be for anyone, right? It meant for me personally, it doesn't have to mean this for you, but for me personally, it meant leaving my job. It meant pushing the envelope a lot to create a bigger vision and actually live it, right? To express myself even more openly, even more loudly. Maybe loudly is the wrong word, but just more confidently on a different platform than I was already doing at that time. And I said yes. My decision was in the favor of greatness. So I started investing lots of money, thousands of dollars that I didn't necessarily have, and months of time to get trained in coaching and speaking, in raising my own level of awareness, in daring to dream big and taking action to manifest those dreams. And so today I'm really happy to share with you that I'm not just a daughter, I'm not just a sister, I'm not just a friend. I'm not just a young professional working at a wonderful job um, and enjoying the security and the comfort of it. I'm also, right? Oh, by the way, before I tell you who I am, let me tell you, it took me months to come to term with this decision and to really even another month to have the courage to tell my boss that I was ready to leave my job, right? So it was a process. But now, here I am. I'm a teacher and teaching the power of faith through people, to people, through the webinar is just one avenue through which I do so. I'm a coach, and I love helping others discover their fascination factor and live their greatest potential. I'm a facilitator, and I love creating spaces for dialogue, for interfaith dialogue, to build community where differences are enriching and shared values are treasured, where collaboration and compassion are the norm and diversity is beautiful. I'm a businesswoman, something I was really truly resisting and I never thought I would be, but I am. I'm a businesswoman. I'm the owner of Noor Enterprises. And most importantly, I'm content. I'm happy. I'm constantly growing. And during that process of growth, I'm also celebrating my successes. So that's just a little bit about myself, and it is really from this place of, personal experience, education, training, and a big, big heart filled with the desire to serve others that I'm hosting this webinar today for you. I would love to hear your story and be of service to you personally. So please do sign up for a strategy session. And in this strategy session, I will help you get clearer on your dream, identify the first biggest step you can take, and ways to help you be on your way. And it's completely complimentary, no strings attached. So I look forward to hearing from you in that regard. And with that, let's do it. Let's jump into the 3 big mistakes that young professionals make that keep them bored, broke, and burnt out. And of course, how to avoid it forever, right? So the number one factor really quickly, just a reminder, if you have questions, if you have comments, please do post them. I'm watching out, looking out for it, and I look forward to making this an interactive session versus me just talking. I love interaction, so I welcome your feedback. The number one factor that leads to unfair expectations, stress, and dissatisfaction, right? That is operating from an external locus of control. What do I mean by that? A locus of control, the orientation, is basically a belief about where the outcomes are coming from. Are the outcomes a result of our action, of what we do, an internal focus on who we are, or are the outcomes, the actions, a result of events that are happening outside of us, right? The parameters we are given, and that's the external locus of control. So the biggest mistake, the first one, is operating from an external locus of control where we are seeking validation from work, from the outside, from our peers, from our colleagues, from the numbers, right? We are comparing ourselves to others. We're seeking approval from others. It's all about what we see, and that is what helps us feel good about the work we do. And if we do that, then it can really keep us dissatisfied because it's really overwhelming. It really is. So let me share a quick example with you on how I experienced that, right? So I remember, one of my most favorite things at work at Cal State LA was to organize the leadership retreats. And for the 5 years I was there, I organized a summer leadership retreat where we would go off to Big Bear, a wonderful place, camping place in the mountains, and we would do a lot of team building, vision work, skill development work, and a lot of fun. And I love putting these on. And I remember one of the years, I don't remember which year it was, maybe my third year. At the end of the retreat, as we were getting onto the bus, I just had multiple, not just one, but many students, right? A whole big number of them come up to me and say, that was the best retreat ever. And even the ones who had been on it the previous year with me and new ones, it didn't matter. They were full of praises, and I was on cloud 9. I was like, yay, all my work paid off. My students loved it. This is why I love doing the work that I do, right? I was literally on cloud 9. And the next year, as I was organizing a retreat, a leadership retreat again, I kept in mind the feedback of our students from the previous years. I kept many of the same activities and but modified them to make it even better, right? Because I don't want to stop there. I wanted each year to be better and better. And somehow, for whatever reason, that year, I did not get as much of a spontaneous, overwhelming joy and feedback of, I love this retreat and it was the best thing ever. It was good. I just didn't get that feedback from the students. And I remember on the way back from Big Bear to LA, almost a 2-hour drive, I remember feeling really disappointed and thinking, did the students not like it? Something missing? What could I have done? What went wrong? And I just remember feeling so much more tired on the way back than I did the previous years. Same number, crazy hours. I mean, nothing much had really changed, right? But I felt more tired. And because my mindset was of a negative space. So when we got off the bus, I told my supervisor, my partner who had been part of this whole experience with me from beginning to end, and I said, Marcus, the students didn't seem to love it as much this year. And he's like, what are you talking about? It was a great retreat. And he gave me a whole bunch of, specific feedback to show me how it was great. And he said, just wait until the evaluations come and you'll see. And yes, he was right. The evaluations were really good. They had some constructive feedback, of course, which is always welcome, but they had a positive experience. It was a great retreat. And the problem then in that whole scenario, as I reflect on it now with you, wasn't that I wanted the retreat to be the best one ever yet. It wasn't that I, wanted or expected feedback. That's natural. We all want to have feedback. We should get feedback. The problem was that my criteria of success was based off on a spontaneous feedback, something I could not control. It was comparing it to last year, and I just can't control that. I can't control if you're going to come up to me with a small smile and say hi, or if you're going to come to me with a big smile and say hello, right? But that's just your style of communication, and there's so many other things that go into it. So I was disappointed because I had wrong expectations, right? So, and if I had continued to operate from that mindset, I would have gotten bored far more quickly at work. And instead of enjoying the process, it would have become a chore. Let me share with you another really quick example before we jump into the solution. This is not my own personal experience, but my aunt's. We were visiting her recently and she got a new job. And so I called her and said, "Hey, how's it going? Congratulations. How do you like it?" And she was full of praises, right? She said she got a job as a troubleshooting person, a customer service representative at a company that basically online chatting, they troubleshoot with computer stuff, right? And she was hired at a higher level of troubleshooting. So she didn't just get the basic inquiries, she got the ones that others could not resolve. And I was like, you don't get tired of it? You know, I would imagine it's tedious. It would be for me. And she said, no, it's like solving a puzzle. You know, I love the troubleshooting part and solving problems and going home at the end of the day knowing that I solved something others could not. And I was like, great, well, I wish you the best. And we hung up. And a few weeks later, when I was talking to her again, I was like, hey, how's it going? And this time, her body language, her tone, everything was different, right? She's like, you know, it's just so stressful. I come home feeling so tired. I don't know how much longer I can do this. There's this quota that I have to fill at work. And if I don't fill that quota, that's an indicator of me not producing enough results. And like just today, for example, this one person called and it took me forever to solve that problem, and I only served 3 clients, only 3. And I don't know how much longer I can do this. So what that tells me, do you see nothing had changed in the working environment or what was expected from her, except her own approach and her own definition of success, right? She was no longer enjoying that process of troubleshooting. It was no longer a fun puzzle to her. Now it was a quota, the pressure, it was all about numbers. So, and so celebrating the 3 people that she helped and the big problems that she solved, right? Because she only got the big problems. Now she was stuck on the number 3. So what is the solution? The solution is to have greater faith in yourself. And the criteria of your success is not in the numbers. It's not in what others say. It's not even in what you're doing. The criteria of success is in who you are being, and being in any given moment, right? I am helpful. I am doing my best. I am diligent. I am providing excellent customer service. I am sharing, right? So let me introduce to you this our sacred name, your sacred name, my sacred name, right? And that is I am. I am is our sacred name, and anything that you put in front of I am, we take on that identity. So in the beginning of this webinar, I introduced myself to you as I am Tasneem Farah Noor. Now you know me as Tasneem Farah Noor, not as Jack Doe, right? Or anyone else. And similarly, if I say to you, I'm so tired, and yet I only helped 3 people today, then you know me as me being tired. You're going to respond to me because I took on the identity of being tired, right? Now if I say, I am creative and I helped to solve these 3 big problems that no one else could solve, you'd be like, wow, you're cool. You're so creative. You helped others. And so do you see? And I know the emotions, we're not talking about the emotions and all that yet, but this is a way you can pause and to relate right? You relate to the situation, to the people with the space that helps you feel better because you have faith in yourself. You know what you are bringing to the table, and it's not about others or what is outside of your control. So, two simple strategies that can help you apply this. The first one, especially, is before you even get to your calendar or to your to do list, create your to be list, right? So let me tell you an example of what does that mean. That means you set your intention for the day, even before you get to the work you are doing. And that intention is how you wish to engage with the day, that day, and with yourself, with life, right? So, for example, my intention for today was to be inspiring, to be informative, to be focused. So, that was my to be list for today. Let me give you an example. Um, a few days ago, and now actually it's months ago, I had a fun one for myself. It was going to be a busy day, and I knew it, and I was like, I want to be inspiring, so I'm inspiring. But I didn't have the time to go to the beach or to, really take time out for myself. So this is what I did to stay true to my intention of being inspiring. I went ahead and everyone I came in contact with that day, I asked them, what inspires you? And it was really fun, right? Because first they were taken aback and they were like, huh? Where is that question coming from? And then they would think about it and share their response, and that was inspiring to me. So by inspiring others, I was inspired and I met my intention of the day. So that example is just to show that there are simple things we can do to be true to our intention of who we want to be, and it doesn't have to be anything big and complicated. Another thing, the second strategy is instead of just wanting or hoping to get feedback from others, ask for specific feedback, right? So now, for example, every time I have a session with my clients, I don't hang up wondering if my message got through or not. Instead, I ask them, what is your takeaway from today's session? What did you appreciate the most? And so I wrap up the session with a sense of gratitude and joy, and it's great. So those are two solutions. The biggest thing is to have an internal locus of control by focusing on who you are being, how you wish to interact with people, with the world, with the situation, with the environment in your life, right? Are you ready? Are you ready for the second big mistake? I am, so let's do it. Again, if there are any questions or anything, Samir, are there any questions so far? Yeah, comments. I want to see the comments, so let me take a moment. Oh, they're on Facebook. Cool. All right, so I won't get distracted. But Sami, tell me if there is any comment I should highlight and bring to our viewers over here. So the second big mistake, right, which is the biggest factor that keeps us stuck in work mode while putting our life on hold. So this is where the burnt out thing comes from, right? And man, I was guilty of it. Very, very guilty of it. As I said, I spent a lot of time, my calendar was dominated with work. So what is the problem? The problem is the lone wolf syndrome, right? It's that sense that I have to do it alone. This is mine to manage. Everyone is busy. Everyone has their own projects to do, their own things to do, and this is my specialty. Hello, this is mine, right? And there's a sense of attachment to it. There's this lack of trust even, because no one can do it as well as I can, right? So let me share an example with you of how this, just one of the many examples of how I experienced this at work. So again, going back to Cal State LA, I was in charge of managing the student government election process, right? And a big part of recruiting students to run for office was to accurately inform them of their role, their responsibilities, the procedure, etc. So there was literally this big, thick packet of more than like 50 pages or so, which included everything the students needed to know. So it was a lot of information, and I got overwhelmed, and I always had a hard time navigating through it and find what I actually needed, right? So I took on the project. It was my initiative. No one told me I had to do it. It was my decision. I was managing the process, and I wanted to improve it. So I said, let me streamline this information and revise the package so it's more accessible for the students and user-friendly. And I got attached to this project. I wanted it to be perfect. I felt like I had to do everything from figuring out what it should look like, to the content, to the language, to, I mean, everything, right? So I worked at least 2 late nights in the office, and I just, made it as good as I could, and I didn't trust anyone else could do it the same way. After all, how could they? They didn't have my vision. And it had been like that for years. So I felt overwhelmed because I had told my boss I was working on this, and now he was expecting it. There was a deadline. And his job, in my eyes, at that point, as my boss, was simply to review and approve. So take care of any mistakes or whatnot and just approve it, right? So when I finally turned it over to him, he said, okay, cool, thank you. I'll look it over. I'll get back to you with it tomorrow. When I got it back the next day, literally it looked so different than what I had given him. I was like, what just happened here? How many hours did he spend reformatting this thing? And how many hours did I spend, putting it in the perfect way, and fonts and margins and colors and this and that? And I just had one of those moments where it was like I did so much thinking it was all up to me and I had to do it, and he's my boss. I have to turn something over to him completely ready to go. Otherwise, he would think I'm lazy. I'm unprofessional, right? So, but what I realized was that it wasn't what I turned into him was bad. It was perfectly fine, but he enjoyed it. He enjoyed that process of formatting and figuring it out, and printing it front and back, and all those little technical, logistical presentation things. It was important to him, and he had his own style with it. So the next time I had a similar project on hand, and had to review it, literally all I did was I handled the content as well as I could, and I just gave it to him. I said, here you go. Here's the content. Can you please format it in a way you would like it to be? And he said, sure. And he did it. It was a great team effort. And it was less overwhelming for me, right? So let's kind of break down that scenario and see what is the solution, right? I already shared with you how I changed my approach in a later task to make it better, but let's really look at what really is the solution. What's the key here? So the solution is having faith in your support structure, right? We always have more access to resources, to support, to tools than we realize. So our job is then to become aware of them by first being honest with ourselves and recognizing our attachment and our trust issues rather than seeing it as this is just the way it has to be. So the number one skill or strategy that I can share with you today in the time that we have today is this. Differentiate between facts and truths, right? What do I mean? Facts are non-negotiable. Fact is you are watching me through a webinar, right? We can't dispute that fact. The truth is always subjective because that is my own unique expression or my own unique perspective and or interpretation of the facts and the condition. So I'm having a great time here talking to you, and that's my truth, that I'm putting up a webinar of great value. Your truth, I hope, fingers crossed, say like or post on Facebook or wherever to suggest it is your truth that you are getting a lot out of this, right? So that is the truth, right? That's an example. So let's go back to my initial situation that I shared with you with the elections package and all that, and see what were the facts and what were the truths. Because the number one skill or strategy that I'm teaching you here is the ability to differentiate between the two. So the facts was that I took it, so these were the facts. I took it upon myself to revise the election packet. I accepted the responsibility. My boss would have the final approval right. That was a fact. I had other projects, deadlines, events that were also time sensitive, right? Those were facts. If you think there are other facts, again, post them on Facebook, on Google, and share those. The truths, my truth, more specifically, was that because I had the idea of revising the package that had been more or less the same for years, it was my responsibility 100%, right? My truth at that moment was it would be unprofessional for me to say to my boss, here is the content, would you please review and adjust the presentation based on your preference and experience, right? My truth at that moment, at that time, was that I had to stay late after hours to get the work done, and there was no way around it, right? What are some alternate truths? What is your truth as you are listening to me and watching this webinar? What are some possible truths or perspectives that are coming up for you? Again, feel free to share them via Facebook or Google. So these are a couple that I can think of, right? I have, and I did, have an excellent supportive team, and I can share my work with them, ask for support, delegate. My boss appreciates the work that I put into it, and it's not so much whether I bold the title or fix the margin because he likes doing it. He appreciates me and my input, right? Even in the first, in the actual example when I shared with you, he changed the look and feel of it like, I don't know, 80%. But the content was pretty much unchanged, right? Because it was quality work that I presented and he appreciated it. Another alternate truth would be that my students are resourceful and I can ask them for additional feedback and make my task easier versus having to figure it all out, right? So in summary, look for the resources and support that you have access to so that you can build, this is how to build faith in your support structure. Differentiate between facts and truths by really thinking, what is a fact, what is a truth? Am I sure this is a fact or is this a truth? Be willing to explore alternative truths, right? Adopt fresh perspectives that are more expansive and offers greater ease to you. And most importantly, Be willing to share, to ask for support by challenging any truths that are not serving you. If staying late working on this project is making you stressful, explore what other truths are there, what other perspectives are there, how else can I manage this, who else can I ask that can help me with this, right? I love the who questions, so go for the who. Our job is to ask for help. Our job is to share our own truths. The other person's job is to say yes or no. Whether they say yes or no is not my responsibility. My job is to ask. And if your support structure is broken or you don't know who is in your support structure, then let's start fixing it. But it starts with the intention, right? So that was problem number 2. Are you ready for the mistake number 3? Yay! Let's do it as the plane flies over. So, learn, this is the one. Learn the most, sorry. What is the most critical factor that keeps you questioning if a greater, more fuller life is even possible, right? So the problem there that keeps us stuck in the questioning mode is when we think only from a reasoning mind, where we are looking at life from a perspective of chronological thinking or logic. First, I shall pay off my loans, then go on a vacation. First, it is smart for me to work more today, so I'm not doing X tomorrow, right? It's just logic, it's superficial thinking. There's a story I'd love to share with you about Wayne Dyer to further highlight this problem, right? And Wayne Dyer, for those of you that don't know him, you can Google him. He's an inspirational speaker, a teacher. He has had several PBS specials, a published author, great guy. I loved listening to him. So this is a story that he shared with my mentoring coach, actually, Mary Morrissey. So years ago, Wayne Dyer was flying from Fort Lauderdale to Chicago, I believe, for a speaking engagement. And as the plane took off, the plane was full, and just a little bit later, after taking off from Fort Lauderdale, there was some engine trouble. So they had to return back to the airport, and now 300 people, literally the whole plane, right, full of people, they wanted a way to get to Chicago. So by the time Wayne Dyer got in front of the line, the attendant over there said to him, "We're sorry. There are no more flights going to Chicago today." And he said, "Well, check Miami. There must be an option." She said, "No way. I'm sorry. They're all taken. I already checked." 300 passengers had to be reassigned, and there's just no more flights to Chicago tonight. I'm so sorry. So he took a moment and he said, "Well, but I'm supposed to speak there tonight. I've got 5,000 people." Can you imagine? 5,000 people at an event, and I'm supposed to be at it. She said, "Well, I'm sorry, sir. There's just nothing I can do. We apologize, but there's no way you can get to Chicago today." So he looked at her again and he said, "Well, is there someone else I can talk to who doesn't believe it is impossible?" She said, "Huh? Excuse me?" And he said, "Well, is there someone behind the counter other than you that I can speak to who doesn't believe it is impossible?" So she huffed and she was like, I told you, but fine, you want to hear it from someone else. And right, so she went and brought someone else, and that person came up to Wayne Dyer, and Wayne Dyer said to him, "Look, I'm just asking you for one thing. I'm asking you to believe first that it is possible for me to go to Chicago today. I've got a group of people I'm speaking for tonight, and with the 5,000 people attending, and I just want you to believe that it is possible I can get to Chicago tonight. Can you do that for me? The attendant said, well, okay, I mean, as far as I know, everything is booked, but let me look, I'm willing. And literally within 3 minutes or so, right, an idea landed in the agent's mind about a completely different route through St. Louis that was a like innovative route. It wasn't something available that you can just put on a screen and say, oh yeah, that one. It was outside the box thinking. And there were several stops along the way, but guess what? Wayne Dyer landed in Chicago well in time for his speaking engagement that night. So what is the solution in this? The problem is already highlighted, thinking from a place of limitation, thinking from a place of, um, it's, yeah, the problem is obvious. So the solution is having faith in possibilities, right? Faith in our own creativity and imagination. That is what the solution is. So our reasoning mind is important. Our reasoning mind looks at logic, at statistics, at probabilities. It looks at all the information, and it's great stuff. We need it, not arguing against it. But in addition to our reasoning mind, we also have our imagination. We also have our creativity. And that is how you access the land of possibilities, right? So align yourself with the mind of possibilities. Think outside of the box. And that is the solution. So very simple strategy that I can share with you today is this idea that the questions we ask determines the quality of the life we live. The questions we ask set our framework, right? And how far we can see. So these are some questions that I will leave you with right now in this regard. If you didn't think of whatever problem you're having at work, at home, wherever, something you want to resolve, right? If you didn't think it was impossible, what would you do? If you didn't think it was impossible, what would you do? What would it be like if just for a moment you allow yourself to imagine a different possibility? What would that different possibility look like? And I love this question, so I just have to throw it in there. What's the gift or the opportunity in that situation, in that problem for you? What is the gift, the opportunity in this for you? And just watch. These are just examples of questions. There are, of course, many more that you can ask, and I invite you to think of really good, expansive, big questions. So your access to possibilities just keeps expanding, right? So I invite you to do that. And of course, just accessing these possibilities doesn't mean you have to act on all of them. You get to decide. It's still your choice, but now your level of awareness has expanded. So let me share with you the analogy of a computer and see how it relates to us, right? When we turn on the computer, on the desktop, we see folders, applications, programs, and if you click on any one of them, let's just say Word document, that will open up and a whole slew of possibilities open up within that application or the program or the confines of Word document, right? And it is all visible. You can bold here, you can save there, you can da-da-da. So that's the desktop is a metaphor or analogy of our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is what we can see and easily recall and access, right? It's right there at the forefront. However, behind every click you put on the computer, to navigate your way around, there is a whole system of programming at work, which operates how we navigate, what we see, and the experience we have of being on the computer at that time, of using that app. So while at the surface it might seem like it's the mouse with which I'm clicking that is in control, right? It's taking me where I want to go. It really is the programming, the invisible pattern, which is in control. Because if you change even one thing about the programming, the click will take you somewhere else, right? So that means, so going back to us, what that means is that our operating system is our unconscious mind, right? And that is really what is navigating and resulting in our experiences, in our thinking, in our interactions of all possibilities. Therefore, to really change our experiences and results, we have to change our operating system. We have to work from our unconscious mind, not just our conscious mind. So Wayne Dyer was operating from a paradigm of possibilities, right? The operating system, by the way, is also another paradigm, is another way of saying operating system. It's pretty much a pattern of our beliefs and our thoughts, right? So Wayne Dyer was operating from a paradigm of possibilities. If I believe it is possible, something will come in my level of awareness to make it possible. And he had years of practice, he had a high level of awareness to exercise this. Whereas the lady behind the counter was operating from a paradigm of just information, of limitations, of what I can see, I can deliver, right? So take a moment to really reflect on your own results, your own experiences, your achievements. These are all a direct consequence of your operating system, of your paradigms, your current paradigms. And if you want to truly change your results for real and truly live a life you love more than what it is right now, you don't have to be at a bad place for it to get better. You can be at a good place like I was to get even greater. And even when you're at the greater, there's always possibility. So if you want to change your results and experience a greater possibility, greater results, greater abundance, greater love, greater success, then you have to shift your paradigm, your operating system. The strategies and things that I've shared with you are tools, but they are still at the superficial level, right? I don't have enough time to go with you over today how to go about shifting paradigms. I can tell you this, that there are two real ways how paradigms are shifted. The first is something so drastic happens that there is just no other option, right? There was an earthquake, there was a fire, there was a death in the family, an accident, marriage, child was born. I mean, these are life-changing, momentous occasions, right? And most of the time, we cannot control them. So by wishing for life to happen to you through those, I'll get a lottery and then everything will be solved, that's like operating from an external locus of control. Not a good idea because we can't control it. The second way is constant repetition. You repeat something so often, so much, that it becomes a pattern and it replaces the old, right? So that really is the strategy, the way to go about it. And today, here I go. Are you ready for the next part? Today, I'd like to share with you a way you can experience a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift with adopting courageous faith, which gives you more confidence, strengthens your will, fuels your efforts, and just makes you expansive. Your level of awareness will just go poof like that, right? Oh, sorry, maybe poof was the wrong exclamation over there. It will not go poof. Poof means it will. What will it be? It will go. Yay! Always resolve, go back to yay when in doubt, right? It will just expand. There you go. Use proper English language versus sounds and phrases, and I'm good. So anyways, so what is courageous faith? What do I mean by that? This is how I see it. Faith is our inner confidence. It is deep trust, simply put. I'm not referring to faith in a religious context. I am religious. It is a big part of who I am. But in the context of which I'm talking to you, it is just inner confidence. And we all have faith in something, right? I have faith that I'm doing my best. I have faith that there is good in the world. I have faith that I'm not alone, right? I have faith that I am and I can be an even greater successful businesswoman. I have faith in what I have to share with you. So there are so many things we have faith in. And at the core of it, what faith really is how you relate to yourself, to others, to the world, and the Creator. That is what faith is. That inner confidence comes because of the way you relate and express yourself to the world and so on and so forth. So courageous faith, then, is the expression of your greatest potential with inner confidence, right? Courageous faith is the expression of your greatest potential with inner confidence, that yes, it is possible. So, what do you have faith in? And in what areas can you practice more courageous faith, right? That is my question to you. So, what I would love to do now is actually share with you a formula of courageous faith. This formula has come about from, again, many different sources and resources, my training, my education, my work with students, with doing diversity trainings, and I mean, so many different sources I can't even pinpoint right now. But this is what I would love to share with you. So let me take a moment to actually just screen share with you so you can also see what I am talking about. Yay! Let's do it. Cool, perfect. So there it is, right? So that is my formula of courageous faith. So let me go over it. There are 3 parts to it. The step, the problem, solution, transformational benefit, and tools and resources. So the very first step of having courageous faith, you cannot have courageous faith without having courageous self-awareness, right? Courageous self-awareness. It starts with me. So the problem, if you are lacking in this area of courageous self-faith, these are some of the problems you might be facing. You've had some success, but something still seems missing, right? You're struggling with low self-esteem or doubt. There's fear of failure, lack of direction, and life is in auto mode, right? So these are all some of the symptoms you might be feeling as indicative of the problem. So the solution then is to go deeper within to get to know yourself. Strengthen your faith in yourself by creating a vision of your best self as you live with courage. What can the best you look like? Right? That is really what this is all about. It's about you finding yourself and believing that that is possible. So then the benefit of doing this is that you have faith in yourself. You connect with the source of your own inner strength. You have greater self-confidence, increased sense of deserving, and you discover your greatest potential, your purpose. Most importantly, you are in alignment with your core values, right? I've just listed some of the tools and resources. Literally, just I picked one or two because it's an ongoing list, which includes your awareness of the law of thinking, you know, the different ways of awareness, the levels of awareness. It's about another one I didn't list here, but reclaiming your story, right? How you relate to your past in a way that will help you, that propels you forward versus holding you back, right? So that one was courageous self-awareness. The second one is, the second step is courageous connections. You have confidence um, in yourself, and yet there is a sense of distrust, right? There is struggle, and you feel lonely and unsupported. Um, and it's hard. It feels hard because of it. So then the solution is to relate to your support structure, to people and resources in more expansive ways, in ways that will strengthen your connection through setting clear expectations and effective communication. Faith in your and the benefit, right, that you will have is that then you will create that faith in your support structure. You can have easier access to resources and help, and really get along even with difficult people. Sorry, there's a small typo, but that's easily fixed, so no worries at all, right? So part of this is, you know, you accept help with greater ease, and you learn communication skills that will help you in this process. So you are setting more realistic expectations. In this, one of the tools I have in this area is intentional listening activity, being able to generate more powerful questions. I just shared with you 2 or 3 questions that are really powerful, but there are so many more. So how do you generate those questions? There is something called the law of receiving and the law of increase. What is all that about? What is this law stuff anyways? I'll tell you. And let me tell you this much right now, that it's the invisible pattern, basically, right? Everything visible has an invisible pattern, and that is what, once you have the awareness of that invisible pattern, you are so much more likely to be successful. So now that you have courageous self-awareness, courageous connections, you're ready. You're ready for a fuller, more expansive expression of yourself, a courageous self-expression, right? So what does that look like? You know that there is something more out there. You have great ideas, but you just don't know what to do with them, you know? You have a dream, but you're afraid of accepting it or expressing it. Your problems seem bigger than the possibility. The conditions are bigger than what you can bear. And there's fear of choosing between what you want and what you must do, what you have to do, what's the smart thing to do, what's expected of you. So those are all examples of problems, manifestations of the problems. So the solution then is to dream big without constraints or held back by the what if syndrome. What if the the funding doesn't fall through? What if I don't get a job? Da, da, da. Recognize that every problem does have a solution. You realize that the power is within you, and that whatever is within you is far greater than any condition or problem outside of you. and that the difference between success and failure is just one step. Your willingness to take one step and one step and one step, right? The benefit is that you will have faith in your dream and its impact. You would have the courage to express your greatest potential. You would have the courage to courageous awareness to go for your dream, right? And create a powerful blueprint of a life you would love. What would that look like? Just like Wayne Dyer, you would be able to access the land of solutions. You would have greater resiliency, courage, faith, confidence to do it afraid, in spite of the conditions, in spite, of course, do it. We're not going to jump off anything, right? We're not going to get blind, but we'll have the strength, the awareness, the tools, the strength to do it, even in spite of those things. And everything will be in harmony. So some of the tools that can help you in this area are test your dream, right? There is a particular test that I take my clients through so they can test their dream and they're sure that this is truly what they, is a dream that they want to invest in. Talk more about the law of attraction. If any law that you have heard of, that's probably one of the biggest law, the law that you have heard of. But law of attraction is just one of the 12 laws. Create a vision board, right? And receive lots of feedback. So those are all examples of what you can do to, actually that is the formula on how you can go about in having greater courageous faith. What did you think of it? Let me know. Post it on Facebook. I want to hear from you. Questions, thoughts. Have you experienced? Did those problems stand out to you? Are you facing them? Did the solutions make sense to you? Let me know. Email me at tfnoor@gmail.com and share with me your feedback and let me help you get in touch with your courageous faith. Yeah? So with that, I want to continue to be of service to you. And here's the gift that I promised to you at the beginning of the webinar. The gift is that I have a way for you to continue learning with me and have my support so you are on this journey of developing and enhancing and deepening your courageous faith. So let me share with you something else. So a moment to screen share. How do I, let me see, get to the courageous faith one?
Courageous faith window.
Okay. Yay, I see it. Woohoo. Alrighty, let's do it. Yay, and here we are. So, ta-da, courageous faith. Expressing your greatest potential with inner confidence, right? And we went over the definition of faith again, that at the core, inner faith is your inner confidence that expresses how you relate to yourself, to others, to the world, and the Creator. And so what are the results you can expect when you live with courageous faith? The results that you can expect are that you'll be connected with your own inner strength. You will build the muscles to harness your power within. Increase your self-awareness as you discover your greatest potential and find expansive ways of relating to yourself, right? So it's really a lot of discovery, a lot of tuning into your strength, enhancing your support structures so that you are building a support structure and you have the relationships and the communication skills so you can either build it or create it. Wherever you are in that process, whatever your support structure looks like, it can be better. Believe me, it can be better. So what can that look like? Learning to relate to others and the world in ways that increases your self-confidence and trust in your own potential and success, right, of what you are deserving of. Creating a powerful blueprint, a vision, a dream, whatever you want to call it, of a life you would actually love living, which is expressing your greatest potential. You don't have to choose between um, doing great service and being rich. You don't. Let's find a way, let's create a blueprint of how you can live a life where you have both and you're experiencing both, right? So that is what courageous faith is all about. It's not about having this or that, it's about this and that by tuning into your greatest potential and expanding your level of self-awareness. So these are just as a result, you will live with greater abundance, ease, grace, confidence, lots of cool stuff. That's just a quick quote from a testimonial from one of my clients that I helped her in making a deep connection. So in bringing out the best in her, and she liked my way of teaching. So yay! I hope you do too, and sign up for a strategy session and get to know my teaching style even more, right? The Courageous Faith class is for you if you are struggling with low self-esteem and you doubt your potential and contributions. If you're unable to articulate or adequately express your strengths, your talents, your gifts, right? If you are feeling lonely and unsupported because your support structure is weak, if you're looking to strengthen your spiritual connection. And by that, I mean, I will not be teaching you religion at all, but what I will do is for you to look within yourself, and that is really what the spiritual connection is referring to, is how you relate to yourself, how you relate to the world, and the sense of how the world operates, right? If you're struggling with issues of lack and constantly finding yourself wanting to be more, so you don't know how to access abundance, how to be this and that. It's always a question of this or that for you. And you're looking to create a more life-giving vision of success. So if you're open to learning, if you're open to living a life that is congruent with your values, a life that you absolutely love, if you're willing and open to liberate yourself like my other client Noor was, if you're willing to take the time to trust me that I have something of great value to offer you from a sincere place, and I know, I truly, truly believe that it's self-benefit, right? It's effective. It's grounded in wisdom. It's grounded in books and research and everything. And I'll share with you where my information is coming from in this class, so you can also be assured of its source, right? So then say yes. Click right here to register now. If you're ready, and I hope you are, because I am, to work with you, this is where you want to register now. Even before we get into the logistics of how it will happen and what, just click here now, right? That's how ready you are. Cool. If you're not quite ready yet and you need a little bit more, let me tell you, because this is important. So what does it really look like? How will the class be conducted? It will be a 3-month course, and there will be the following components, right? We will have a webinar class similar to the one we're having right now, so this would be a similar setup. I will try to identify ways on how it can be even more interactive, so there is a little bit back and forth, and it's not just me presenting the whole time. One way of doing that I know is having a conference call. So, and then there's, we can hear from each other as well. But anyways, those are just technical stuff. I'll get those details to you later. But over the next 3 months, we will cover. So the first month, we will go over courageous self-awareness. The second month, we'll go over courageous connections. The third month, you'll go over courageous self-expression. So if you remember, that is the formula of increasing courageous faith, right? So that's what we're going to go over. The classes are designed to teach content. It will give you step-by-step actions, clearly outlined strategies, exercises, examples, templates, everything you need to really master the 3 steps of courageous faith. And each class, I promise, I do this with everything that I do, and that is to design it specifically for that group, for that purpose, and do my best to be inspiring and engaging and interactive, right? So that was the first. Number 2, in order to provide even more exchange, as I mentioned, I really like it to be interactive. I'll offer 6 group coaching and Q&A sessions, right? So on alternate weeks, you'll have the opportunity to dial into a free conference call to ask any questions, get extra support, accelerate your results, and build on that community of helping each other. You know, this is really, really key. So you don't have to worry about it just being one-dimensional. You know, like just, what I meant by that was just me teaching and you have nowhere to articulate. I will make ways for you to share, to be engaged, to articulate your thoughts and your ideas. I want to hear from you. I really do. The third component will be an exclusive access to our secret Courageous Faith Facebook group, where you can network and mastermind with other like-minded people like yourself who are also seeking courageous faith. You can post questions here and receive additional support from your peers. And component 4, I will offer another complimentary strategy session, so this is, I'm promising just one right now, but I'm actually really open and considering to offer even more. So while the group coaching calls, right, the number 2 component will be a group experience, this one will be one-on-one. So we can really go deep, and I can give you the personal support that you want. And this is a really good way for you to have a breakthrough, because I'm very passionate about asking questions and going deeper and increasing your level of awareness. So I love doing this. This is what I love. This is the coaching part, right? So I promise I'm looking into ways of increasing the number of the one-on-ones that I offer you. Number 4, systems, templates, checklists. So you have a proven system, an example of things that you are using. It's not just my experience, but it's embedded in a lot of research and a lot of good stuff. There's another quote from one of my other clients. Yay, I do like to make you laugh and learn and dig deeper. So let's do it. I want to meet you. The you that is the greatest version of you, right? So that's what I will do. If that wasn't enough, you get a few more bonuses right here, right? So the bonus one is that I will give you access to trusted and talented teachers that I trust. So you have even more access to information and resources and people that have to teach you much. Plus, I will give you another invitation to an interfaith diversity retreat that I'm organizing in Los Angeles, California. It's likely, I'm working on it to be in March. It will be in California, somewhere in the LA area. And this is an experience you do not want to be missed. So you'll get a special invitation to this retreat. And this retreat will break down the walls of fear and stereotype, engage with differences, right? Do a lot of good stuff. So click here now to register. Doesn't that sound amazing? I hope so, because it sounds amazing to me, and I can't wait to engage with you in this practice during this class. So invest in yourself as you live with courageous faith and express your greatest potential. If you're wondering what the cost is $497. That's your investment, actually. I will say it's not a cost, because a cost makes it seem like it's you know you know you're losing something. But investment is where you are gaining. You're gaining courageous faith. You're gaining a support structure that is even more amazing. So there's so much to gain only for $497. If you have any questions about the amount, about installment plans and all of that type of stuff, feel free to email me at tfnoor@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to work with you on a payment plan so it's easy and convenient for you. Additionally, that's not all. Guess what? If you sign up now or within the next 2 weeks, you can choose a loved one or a friend to participate with you in Courageous Faith, right? So either you can pay the whole $497 and they are your guest for free, or you can split the cost of the program with them. So then it's actually going to be 200 something dollars, right? Versus 497. So it's a great way for you to share the experience and to also get the most out of it yourself. So having that support is definitely a strong way you can strengthen your support structure. And this is meaningful work to me. This is why I left my job. I left my job because I wanted to have the freedom to do this type of work more and more every day and reach out to young professionals and people even off university campuses. So this is where my heart is. This is where my passion lies, and I want to serve you. So I've done my best to drop down the price as low as I can, while still feeling like I'm being well compensated. So I hope you will see that, and you will see the value of your investment and take advantage of this offer, right? So this is some more details on how the program works. I will email you all the specifics, of course, and get in touch with you to give you more so you never have to worry about it. We will have lots of fun together. So even a single one-on-one, if you're on the borderline, if you're not sure if this is it for you, if you're not sure if it's worth the investment for you, then drop me an email, sign up for a strategy session, and let's figure it out. I'm not here to pressurize you into doing anything you don't want to. I'm here to be of service to you and have you introduce you to your greatest potential. So help me to do that by saying yes, by either registering right here, click here to register now, or email me, sign up for a strategy session so I can actually talk with you a little bit more about it. I have lots of great clients, lots of great students. I want to thank them, and they help me, they push me even more and more so I can keep expressing my greatest potential. So I want to do the same with you. I want to say you are my client. You are in my class. So register below. Don't wait another second. Don't think about it too much, because let me tell you this. Action when you think too much, basically what you're doing is you're letting your conscious mind, the conditions, the paradigms, your current paradigm, decide for you or highly influence your decision. What you want to do to decide whether this is the right program for you or not is to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, what would I love? What would life look like if I had greater courageous faith? If I was expressing and living courageous faith, what would life be like? And what am I willing to let go of, right? It might be fear, it might be doubt, it might be money, it might be comfort. I don't know what it is for you. But what are you willing to let go in order to make that possibility of you living with courageous faith more real for you? So it's not just a dream, it's not just a thought, it's something that you're actually committed to. And that's my invitation to you, is regardless of what you decide, whether you sign up for my program or not, be truly, truly committed to living courageous faith in your life every day. I have faith in the formula that I have put together because I know it's grounded in so much, good research and experiences, and I mean it's just great. It's just great. So this is I have so much faith in it that I'm willing to give you a 30-day money back guarantee. So what that means is that you can take the first month of classes and you don't think it's worth it. I won't ask you too many questions. You can get your money back, right? I have that much faith in what I have to offer you. How much faith do you have in yourself that you can say yes to this possibility, to this opportunity? It might be scary, but I believe in you. So if you want to talk about it further with me, if you want to explore this possibility with me from a higher level of awareness, then then sign up for a strategy session. Let me hear from you. Let me talk to you. And that's the best way I can be of service to you. If you're ready, if you already know the answer, that you're ready to live with courageous faith, you deserve it. You really do. You deserve the success that will come from it, the achievements, the results, right? Because you'll be shifting your paradigm. Remember, your unconscious, invisible patterns that are resulting in the experience that you are having right now. That is what we'll be shifting with courageous faith, right? We won't just stay at the conscious level and talk about more tools and more strategies. We'll go deep. We really will. That's the only way to change, to get to live a life that we love, is to be daring to dream big, daring to do more, to be more, to discover yourself. So I leave you now with an invitation to discover yourself, to share your journey of discovery with me, to trust me as I invite you to share more, right? So here I am. You know how to reach me. You have had a chance to get to know me. I'm here for you to get to know me even more. So don't let this opportunity pass without giving it at least another thought. And remember that you want to act on your thoughts. That is very, very important. So take care, stay amazing, stay beautiful and wonderful. Be brave, be strong, believe in yourself. I believe in you. And take action, take that first step, that one step with courageous faith, and see what opens up for you. I'll leave you with this quote. I love it. And that is, go to the edge of the light you see. Go to the edge of the light you see. And when you get to the edge, you'll find more light. And then your next step will be go to the edge of the light you see, right? So it's ongoing. So let's do it. Let's go to the edge of the light we see, and stay cool, stay wonderful, and smile, because you're deserving of living with much courageous faith. And I look forward to sharing that journey, that discovery with you. All right? Take care. Bye. Hope to hear from you. See you. Yay.